And welcome to the show, The Price of Business. Bill Knapik sitting in for Kevin Price. And now the show continues with another great guest. His name is Doug Williamson, CPA. Doug, and he is the author of Thoughts of an American Taxpayer. Doug, thank you and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Bill. Nice to be on with you.
Thoughts of an American Taxpayer. I bet all the taxpayers have thoughts. Tell us about your book and the book Thoughts of an American Taxpayer.
Well, everybody, wants to take all the politicians in D.C. want to take all the money from the taxpayers and then redistribute to whoever they want to vote for them. But no, I started the first volume back in 2008, November 5th, 2008, after the election there, and I just started seeing what was going on in this country. I mean, it's just crazy. Bush had started the debt going up, and in my opinion, I even tweeted a while back that, anybody who puts this country in $1 debt should be put in prison, especially when it's not their money. And I just started feeling bad about our politics in this country. I don't know what's happened, but everybody in D.C., it's no longer a swamp, it's a sewer up there. And they've really lost their way, and I just started writing down random thoughts, and all of a sudden I've got pages left and right, and I started putting it together, and then I sent it off and got it published, and then a few years later I had it updated a little bit, so with Tate Publishing.
Well, that's great. Well, as we're talking about the book, Doug, let's first tell people as they're listening how they can get the book, and we can talk some more about it.
Well, they can either go through Tate, Ex Libris, or actually I have a website called, it's www.thepatriotsview.com. www.thepatriotsview.com.
And that's a great name, too. Very easy to remember as people are driving, perhaps, thepatriotsview.com. So check it out and pick up a copy of the book. I know Kevin is a huge fan of the book. I have not read it yet, but I intend to pick it up. It's
a great book, Bill, and it's just, it's something that all I was trying to do, I didn't feel like the media was doing their job, getting the word out. So what my main objective was behind this is not to make a lot of money, but to get the book out, because one of my big deals in the book is I talk about the IRS, and there's some, even years ago, there were some great agents out there that cared about the American taxpayers and everything, but more and more, and every year, when they start, trying to just go after one party, or whatever, one set of conservatives or Republicans or whatever, and discriminate, and that's no longer, to me, a legitimate organization. I mean, everybody wants to pay their fair share, except for Democrats. It doesn't seem like they want to pay their fair share. I don't know how many people Obama nominated that couldn't even pass a computer audit,
Well, like you're saying, too, the fact that they have it focused on one group or another, that is very disturbing, and that is one of the thoughts of this American taxpayer. I find that very disturbing. That's not good.
And what's more disturbing, Bill, is nobody's doing anything about it. I mean, the Lois Lerner takes the fifth, and still she's not even in prison. I mean, I think when you take the fifth, you more or less admitting that you did wrong, don't you think?
I would agree with that. but also go back to the idea. I like with any book, it's fascinating what motivates someone to write a book, but also the method that you used. It sounds like you put your ideas on paper, found that you had a lot of pages, and you said, hey, I have a book. Let me put this together, organize it so that people can benefit from the knowledge that's within.
Right, let's put it together and see if people, they just want to read a book and figure out what's going on with the government, because I did, some research, and then there's a lot of good emails in there and a lot of history, and looking at, the kids and grandkids and people like that going forward. I mean, this country is just putting them in such a bind that it's going to be terrible, 15, 20 years from now. I mean, it's terrible now, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it's just it's going to get worse and worse. And this book is mainly just out there as just something to give people a little bit of knowledge, Like, the election going on today, I mean, it's, the politicians were getting less and less of people that, are actually really, really patriots, Ted Cruz is one of them. I mean, I voted this morning, and I cast my vote for Ted because I think, whenever he ran for the Senate, he told the Texans what he was going to do, and he went to D.C. and he did it.
Right there, that the adage and the principle of do what you say you're going to do applies in everything, politics and business and our integrity in life.
Exactly. exactly.
And unfortunately, it has been in the business world and certainly and for real in politics. We see it often that people do not do what they say they're going to do, and that is another disturbing thing about life.
It really is, and if you look on, not that they're perfect, but you look on the Democratic side, what's running over there, and it's you got a socialist and then a wannabe socialist and someone that's really got a bad record and should be put in prison herself, and Bernie, he's just not. I don't know, he's not right. I mean, evidently neither one of them ever heard Margaret Thatcher's statement, or quote, or she said that the bad thing about socialism is sooner or later you run out of somebody else's money.
Well, that's it's an excellent point. But the whole combination, as we're talking politics here a little bit, I try lately in the recent years, I haven't followed politics like I used to, but there is something, speaking of disturbing, there is something disturbing about the combination that the fact Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are running, and we're the other choices. I mean,
I know.
You have someone that's accused of a crime, and as some people would say, should be in jail, but we're the other candidates. Something's weird about that, real weird.
Right. Well, I think it's getting where the good people just don't even want to run because then the media, the media doesn't do its job, and it just goes out there and tarnishes the reputation of good people and just lets the scumbags go.
Well, now tell us, Doug, what are the things as people read the book, and I would think that as an author, you put your book out there, people read it, and again, Kevin's a huge fan of the book. What do they come back? Do they reach out to you, or they email you and say, "Hey, Doug, here's what I thought about it"? What is the nerves that you perhaps are hitting, and the feedback that you get from people that have read the book?
Well, years ago when I first published, I spoke at a few Tea Party meetings. That was back when the Tea Party was really big, and I had really good feedback then. And then the main reason I set up this website is to get the feedback and a lot of people just, I don't know if they just still don't know about it. I mean, I've been on Kevin's show for quite a while now and still trying to get the word out. It seems like a lot of people still do not know about the book. I think if they did know about the book or went to the website and looked up the book, I think they'd just be amazed at how much information there is in the book. And there's some great quotes in there, some emails from way back, back in 08, 9, 10, that era and everything. Where everything's flying. I mean, I didn't have time to check everything out, but there's some good emails and some great quotes. I mean, the quotes are actually factual.
Well, let's tell them again. Thoughts of an American Taxpayer. Easy to remember the title of your book by Doug Williamson.
Well, actually, I put on there, Bill, my first name is Gary, and I put G. Williamson. So it's
okay.
But I mean, my firm is always known by Doug Williamson. Kevin and I got off on that. It's Doug Williamson CPA. So
there you go.
I figured someone, the taxes. I mean, I think all these guys are sort of missing the mark on the taxes because, really, if you really want to be fair about taxes, because this country 100 years ago had zero taxes and is the most prosperous country in the world, and then along came government, and federal government. And it's just gone crazy with taxes. And I think if you go back and just do a consumption tax, your tax base really spreads out. Whereas if you go to income tax, it just sort of stays, in one area and goes up. It doesn't really expand like it would if you have a consumption tax like the sales tax and stuff like that.
Well, taxes are super disturbing, as in certainly we are in the tax season right now.
Right,
I'm having my taxes done now.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
And I'm saying that, and it's going to affect my livelihood. It's going to cut down on my income quite a bit. But I mean, it's something good for the country. I mean, we got to think about the country more than ourselves today. And a lot of people just are not willing to do that, especially on the other side.
Well, you also said it too about even being $1 in debt as a country. That's not good.
Shameful. It's very shameful. Yeah.
And we are far more than $1 in debt. And we will remind people that thepatriotsview.com is where they can get the book and learn more about the book and the other things you're doing too, Doug. Now, do you have other speaking engagements as you're out there?
I haven't. I went to New York a while back in November with my publisher and met a lot of people from Fox up there and everything, some of their representatives and everything. And I haven't followed up, quite honestly, on it. I need to do it myself. Everybody gets caught up. We got to work for a living. We're not like the protesters and all that where we have time to do a lot of things. We're working, trying to make the country go, so... But that's no excuse. So I'm trying to follow up on a few things and see if I can get some other speaking engagements and everything.
Indeed. Well, tell people, if you would, how to reach you should they want to reach out to you.
There's a number and everything on my website, the Patriots View, but it's just go on there and there's a place to email me or call me or whatever.
Well, very nice. Also, before we conclude this segment here, what else would you like people to know?
I just want them to know, there's these elections. I mean, it's great that we're having them, but I mean, if this doesn't work, we still have another way of getting out of this. Hopefully, that will work, because there's already 6 states on board with it's under Article 5, Convention of the States, and it's already passed through 6 states, and all we need is like 34 to get it really going, and then 38 to ratify it. So it's called Convention of the States under Article 5 of the Constitution.
Very nice. It dawns on me as we sit here, Doug, a year from now, and sooner than that, we'll have a new president.
I hope so.
Well, very nice.
I hope this one makes a difference, because this other one has just really buried this country. He just hates this country so bad. It shows every day, doesn't it?
It's not good, no doubt about it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We remind people again, go to thepatriotsview.com and check out the book, Thoughts of an American Taxpayer. Thank you, Doug, for being on the show.
Hey, thank you, Bill. Really appreciate talking to you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Very nice to talk to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In the meantime, everybody, we are at the end of the show. And once again, I'll tell you just a bit about myself. I really appreciate the opportunity. I want to thank Mr. Kevin Price, The Price of Business. The best content here goes over there. Go to thepriceofbusiness.com. In the meantime, my name is Bill Knapik. I host 2 radio shows. I invite you to check them out on Saturdays on 100.7 FM. Tune in at 10:30 a.m. to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. We have interesting guests all the time on my little half-hour show. And at 1 o'clock, we talk real estate. We talk about Houston, Texas. We have people weigh in, sometimes from all over the country, talking about real estate, things we should know about. Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title. It's on at 1 o'clock every Saturday on 100.7 FM. You know what? If that's too much information for you, just go to Bill Knapik with a K. Bill Knapik radio shows. I have a YouTube channel. You can see and hear the shows all the time, as much as you want. In the meantime, I work for Stuart Title. I develop business, talk about the American dream. Real estate people refer to as the American dream. And at Stuart Title, we protect that real estate investment with a title policy. We are in the title business for over 122 years. Give me a call if you would like me to be a steward of your real estate transaction at 713-210-9767. Bill Knapik, 713-210-9767, developing business for Stuart Title, hosting radio shows in my spare time. Thank you for listening to The Price of Business. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Price. And we're going to have a great show tomorrow, so tune in to The Price of Business.